Hi, my name's Maliki. I'm just putting a quick video together to show you what's included with the double lightsaber, the staff, and all of the special blades that are in this auction. Obviously, video editing is not my strong point, so I apologize in advance for that. But hopefully you get an idea of what it's going to be all about and what's included, and obviously what a great value this is. So, without further ado, let's start looking at the saber. Okay, here's a quick overview of what's included. If we start over on the left, this is a custom built saber using ASP parts from Saberforge. It has a dark blue LED, and what's really cool about that is I've made some special blade plugs and blades that use blue light, and in the case of the one on the left, this one is a photon green, so it glows a really bright green. This is a photon red, so it kind of glows like a pinkish reddish purple. This one is an orange, and it kind of reacts kind of like a yellowish orange color when it's hit by the blue light. And then this one, of course, is a blue plug itself. So what's cool about that is you can just swap out the plugs or the blades, and you can completely change the blade color. Moving on, we have multiple staff pieces, and these can be combined to make a staff up to about 8 foot long, so that's very imposing. The charger, of course. This here is a coupler, so you can actually use it for making a double-ended staff. And this one here, I've currently got set up with a Sentinel yellow LED, but as you can see, I'm also including a few extra LEDs. There's a medium blue, which is a little lighter than the first saber, a cyan, and a white, and they can be swapped out because it's all plug and play. In terms of the blades, there's a couple of white blades, and those are useful when you're doing it as a double-ended staff so that the staff doesn't get too long. And in terms of the blades themselves over here, these two are both ripper blades, and those, as I say, are enhanced to react to blue light. These two were done using the custom saber shop parts, and then this one over here was kind of an experimental blade that when you light it with a blue light, it kind of gives a mossy look or an under the sea look, so you get kind of a light blue with the green blade all intermixed. So let's look at some of this stuff in a bit more detail. So we're going to start with the thin-necked one that I made with the Sentinel yellow. If we pull out the kill key, and you can see I've got it with an illuminated white switch. It's got a nice little blade plug in there as well, which has some arabesque script on there. As you can see at the top, I did also put a thumb screw on there so that you can quickly change out the blades or the blade plugs, and you don't need a special tool to do that. As you can also see, it's been weathered to give it obviously a well-used look. And let's just put in a little blade on that just to show you how that works. So I'll just turn that, tip the blade plug out, tougher one-handed than I thought. So that's what the Sentinel yellow looks like. It's not entirely coming out on the camera, but that's a pretty close representation right there of what I'm seeing in real life. Actually, that color actually is closer to what I'm seeing in real life. Okay. And obviously we'll do a couple of swings and such like as well, just to show you what the sound funk sounds like. You can configure the sensitivity on both of these, and you can also change the rate of flicker. I just kind of like with these older looking ones to make it look like the kyber crystal is flickering. So you kind of get the idea, but both of them have the same sound font in there, just for consistency. Now this is the one that you're probably particularly interested in. I was really quite happy with how it turned out with some of the patina to make it look like the copper was oxidizing the nice emitter windows. So I'm just going to show you how this one works with those special blade plugs. Now I'm not sure if you can see it too well on the camera, but it is illuminated blue, and it particularly shows up well in the dark. I decided to go with like the bluish violets so that when you activate it in the dark, it's easy to find the switch, but in the daytime it doesn't show up as well. However, let me switch it on and I'll show you how those different plugs work using the blue light activation. So we'll start off with the blue, of course, which, as one might expect, comes out of the nice blue colour. And now we'll start off with the next one. So this is the orange, and you can see that kind of comes out kind of a, well, can't see it too well on the camera, but it's kind of a little yellowish orange light, and it's got a blue core on this one. See if we can see it a bit closer. No, sadly the camera's not doing this particular colour justice, but in real life it's showing up as kind of a yellowish orange colour, and as I say, it has a nice blue coring effect. And this is with the red one. As you can see, that's coming out like a pinkish colour, and in reality it's a much deeper red than we're seeing on the camera, but nonetheless you can still see it's a pretty cool effect with how that blue light is being used to activate a completely different colour. And then with the photon green in there, and as you can see, that's a really, really bright one because the eyes react much better to green light. So when you convert all that blue energy to green, you get a really, really bright blade effect. Okay, so let's show you how it looks with a few blades in as well. Oh, first of all, of course, let's just have a look at some of the patinas to show how I've made it look like aged copper. Okay. So let me show you how some of these blades work. And the first blade I've got in was using the custom Saber shop parts, and I did put a Corbin film inside. And what's interesting about the Corbin film is you get that effect very much like the movie posters, where you get the bright flare at the base, and then you still get a pretty decent blade up at the top, but that flaring effect at the bottom is a really cool effect that you get with those Corbin films. So that's with the blue one, obviously. Next with the orange, and hopefully we get to see that blue coring effect I mentioned earlier. So you can see it's orange on the outsides, and you have that blue coring effect on the inside. And that is a particularly interesting effect that you don't normally see on most blades. Next up, we have a red blade from Ripper Blades, and this one has a really nice film inside so that as you change the angle on the blade, you see a slightly different colour coming out of it. So it has kind of a very interesting look depending on which direction you look at it from. And now, of course, the enhanced, the photon green, and this one is super bright, and it almost looks like you can see through it. Let's see if we can get that effect on the camera. Yeah, so you can almost look like you're looking through like a ghostly blade on this one, so I really like the effect on this one. And this shows up particularly well in day or night time, because if you're out cosplaying, it's lit heavily by lights, or you're out in sunlight, the sunlight itself activates the blade. So it will look fine whether you're in the dark or in the daytime. And then the final blade here was an experimental blade, and when it's lit by that blue light, let's see if we can show you how that effect works. You get this deep mottled effect, and unfortunately it's not showing up as well as I'd like on the camera, but here you can see like the green patches overshowing kind of like this light cyan blue colour. So it's very good if you're going for like an elemental type blade, or you're looking for like a verdant blade that's, you know, kind of like mossy or something like that. So that's kind of how those blades work. Next up, I'll show you how the staff pieces work. So I've taken the time to assemble all of the staff pieces. They do unscrew, so you can break it down into approximately 1 foot sections. However, just for simplicity on the video, I've pre-assembled them. So let's switch it on here. This is with one of the short white blades, mostly because I was running out of space because I was about to hit the ceiling. So moving down, we already saw some of the patina on the actual saber itself. I've been consistent with that. You can see there's some battle scarring as well. A nice grip piece that you can move around where you like. I normally like to put it on the second one down because it's a comfortable place to grasp it. And you can see I've kept a fairly consistent copper with the teal coloured patina to give that aged feel. So moving down here, and then we'll pan out just to show you what it looks like. You can see you can hear it's got a nice throaty hum, because in this configuration it focuses out all of the sound right from the bottom of the staff, but you do kind of hear it emanating somewhat throughout the staff, but as I say, you just get that deep bass effect from the bottom. So let's just show you how this looks from a distance here. So that's with all the pieces of the staff assembled together. And next up I'll show you how it looks with the double saber configuration. Just because I'm running out of space, I'm only going to put 3 of the pieces in the middle, but you can obviously put all 6 pieces in if you've got a lot of space to work with and you happen to be a really large person to wield the staff. Okay. As you can see, I've set it up in the double blade configuration. I've put 3 pieces in the middle, and I find that's comfortable. I'm 6'1", and that's good for me to spin around. You can put up to 3 extra pieces in. I wouldn't recommend that unless you're a particularly tall person. Because of how the coupler works, you can couple together as little as just the 2 sabers directly. I would recommend putting in at least this middle piece in just for the grip, but you at least have the options. So let's just turn it on briefly for the sound. So there you have it. You could actually put longer blades on, of course, but this works quite well for me for spinning around. So hopefully you get an idea of what the saber's all about. So in summary, a very, very versatile combination, whether you're looking for dual wield, staff configuration, double bladed, you've pretty much got everything you need. The multiple LEDs, the multiple color things that will work with the blue lights. Any questions? There should be a link nearby, and hopefully talk to you soon, and happy bidding.